Hey guys, Philosophios here. I'm going to make this video on the build that I've landed on for farming Torment 1. Basically, with the changes to the Demon Hunter and Reaper of Souls, the cluster arrow has become really good, so it's very strong. They reduced the cost and they increased the damage significantly. Combined with a little bit of resource reduction, it's just even more effective than it's ever been. It used to be good on launch, and the damage has been lacking ever since they implemented the monster power, but finally it seems like they actually upped the damage. It's doing pretty well. So that's what the build is basically built around, is this one ability. And you have the Grenader here as well, amplifying that damage 20%. It is increasing the damage here as well as with the generator. A lot of you guys are already probably familiar with the cluster bombs, the way that it behaves, the way that it fires. So it launches an arc and then it falls down with the grenades, and there's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a big one for 6. So there's 6 total grenades, one of which is about here, the next is here, and then there's actually 3 really close to each other about this area right here. You can see every time there's always 3 right around the same distance right here. So that's going to be like the sweet spot. That's where you want them to land. This one's good. It does hit that big large area, but it's not as much focused, so it's kind of working for the AoE as well with that big grenade at the end. But it's really good with that focus damage, because you're hitting with the grenades 3 times, 6. So you're hitting with 3 of those grenades on the single target, 600% damage. You're looking at 1800% per cast, and with 1 cycle, you can get, depending on your resource reduction, you can get a lot of these. So I'm at, let's see. It looks like 8, and then I have to wait just a couple moments, and then I can go for 4 more. And if I was in combat, I would probably have a health globe or land some Night Stalker crits to get the discipline back, to where I could drop 3 pools worth, which would be 12 bombs. So we're looking at casting this 12 times, with a little bit of discipline regen in combat. I would be able to cast another set. So you have 12 casts with 3 grenades each. So you're looking at 36 grenades at 600% weapon damage. I mean, you could do some math. It's over 20,000% weapon damage burst. So that's a lot. I think it's 21,600% weapon damage burst, so right there. And it does take, depending on your attack speed, it will take a certain amount of time. Obviously, for me to cast 12 times, you know, it's going to take 4.5 seconds. So I mean, if you know, you're looking at 21,000% weapon damage over 4.5 seconds. That's pretty significant damage. And I guess the kicker here is the calculations I was just referring is without Grenader. You know, it's without Vengeance. So if I'm actually killing stuff, picking up globes, I'm going to be able to launch more clusters, doing more damage. So it is a tricky build to get comfortable with, but the potential is extremely high, and it is hard to run and to maintain. If you're not lining up the clusters just right, you're not going to be really getting effective damage. So it does take a certain amount of practice to become familiar with that sweet spot, and utilizing the vault to land it right where you want it. Okay, so with that said, I'm just going to go through here, starting with the generator, and talk about each ability and how they're working together here. So, the grenade cache, they made changes to it. the grenades, they made significant changes to the way the grenades behave, so if you don't use this one, you only get one grenade. So that's not really doing much work. So with this one, you get 3 grenades, and I have tested the proc coefficients for the abilities. So basically, even though the proc coefficient is less here, because it spawns 3 of them, the effective returns is strongest with the grenade. So that's going to be the new Night Stalker synergy. So you're using this to get the discipline as well as hatred. So you're generating hatred in addition to discipline while you're landing critical hits at a pretty fair rate. So grenades there, clusters here, combined with the grenader for more damage there. You got the smoke screen with the regen life, healing vapors. This is very strong now with the amount of health that players have. Rather than healing for a few thousand life on hit, the life percent replenish is very strong. Life on hit can work, but the main reason I'm running the smoke screen here is because of my chest piece, which whenever it automatically casts the smoke screen, if you have smoke screen, it casts the smoke screen with the rune. If you don't have smoke screen, so for example if I were to run shadow power and this effect triggered, I wouldn't get a bonus, I would just get the avoiding the damage. So if I use smoke screen in my build, I get a free heal whenever I fall below 25% life. This is going to trigger, it's going to heal me for 15% of my life, and I can actually double cast it because it doesn't trigger the cooldown here, so you can double cast it and get a nice 30% replenish. So that's been very strong for helping me avoid death. Bloom is not bad, or the shadow power is not bad. And like I said, the main reason I switched to smoke screen is that legendary that I have. So it is true that the items you get can influence the build that you use. We have Tumble with Vault here for the mobility, obviously. Preparation Punishment is going to be to get your hatred back. They did change the way this behaves, so you don't get all of your hatred back, you only get 125. So not quite the synergy that we used to have here with the Vengeance to increase the maximum, but there's still really good synergy between the punishment here and the Night Stalker to fuel your hatred. So resources can be an issue whenever you're trying to spam an ability that costs, 30 to 40 hatred. The resources can be an issue, and the hatred doesn't come back that quickly on its own. So we're using the punishment to be able to spam the clusters more, which is also proccing the Night Stalker, generating the discipline, fueling the punishment. So that's really good synergy between these abilities here. And then we have the Wolf Companion. They changed the way the pets work a little bit. So there's an active and passive ability. The active ability you get every 30 seconds whenever you actually press the skill, and the passive ability is always happening. So we have a 30-second cooldown with 10-second uptime, so it's roughly 30% uptime, and what it's doing here is kind of similar. The active ability is similar to the Mantra of Conviction on the Monk. It's a little different, it doesn't amplify the damage the monsters take, it's actually amplifying the character damage. And this is working for the whole group, and it has a very large range, so pretty much as long as you're together, everybody in the group's going to be able to get that without you having to worry about repositioning or anything like that. So that's working really well there. The tactical advantage is really useful. Combined with the vault, it's going to allow you to get to the bounties faster. Sometimes it takes a while, you have to search to find the guy. Same thing, the rifts, sometimes the monster density can be kind of patchy, so there are areas that aren't very full, some that are, and things like that. So Tactile advantage, helping both with the vault and the smoke screen for the mobility. Night Stalker again, just the resource fuel. Vengeance had significant changes as well. They reworded it, relabeled it, and with the addition of the Vengeance ability, the cooldown, signature spell of the Demon Hunter, we have Blood Vengeance now for the passive, and they actually did increase this significantly. So we have 40 hatred per globe and 4 discipline per globe. On live, I believe it's 25 and 2. So almost doubling the returns here. They did nerf the pickup range, so it's a little bit harder to get the globes quickly. However, with the vault, tactile advantage, smoke screen combination, you can basically avoid damage while picking up globes, while spamming cluster bombs, and just kind of maintaining a cycle on your wolf proc and your cluster dump. So, just real briefly, you do want to make sure to activate the wolf before you dump your hatred. And I'm going to do just a quick little demonstration. This is just a quick bounty run on Torment 1 with the build. A little bit of footage here. Basically, the idea, you want to just proc the wolf when you engage the elite, get that damage bonus, dump a bunch of clusters.
My hatred is too low.
If you run low on resources, spam the grenades. It's going to generate hatred and discipline. When you have enough hatred to dump, you just spend all your hatred on cluster, and then when you get a chance, you can turn your discipline into hatred through punishment. And, you know, like I mentioned earlier, avoid damage while collecting the health globes. So pickup range is going to help. I do have pickup range on a few items, as well as bonus health globe bonus. So you don't really need it, but it is going to help because you're already chasing health globes for the resources. So if it heals you, it's going to help sustain. So I mean, you can see I'm pretty much. The trash is just instantly dead.
I need more discipline.
A couple shots and the trash dies. 2 shots, 3 shots right there, 1 wave, you know, it's basically 1 cycle of resources and the trash is gonna die, be dead. And then here we have the bounty. We're gonna use a scroll. If you land it just right, he dies basically instantly. T1 bounty boss, they usually take a minute, you know. That was just instantly dead. So the damage burst potential is very high if you line it up. And this is just another quick bounty, kill Belial. We got an elite. I don't usually skip elites, I like to kill them. And again, whenever you engage, I didn't hit the wolf here. Normally you would want to do that and then dump. Kind of an intense pack, so I was watching my health more than worrying about the wolf damage bonus. Trying to make sure I didn't die.
My strength is back.
And there's legendary. So, could have used the wolf, they would have died a little faster, but that was kind of nasty. The reflect can be an issue, so like I said, I had to pay attention to my health. And I'm kind of like kiting them around in such a way to where they end up in a line, and then I just vault away and then drop a cluster, and they pretty much just die. You know, if you land it just right, you're gonna one-shot pretty much every trash monster, and with the right buffs or whatever, you can one-shot pretty much the bounties as well. So I didn't quite line that up, you'll see here in a second. I'm gonna line up a few nice, bro, here we go, watch the damage burst. So he just melts like half of his health with 1 resource cycle.
My hatred
It is kind of tricky to make sure that you land the grenades, but on a lot of bounties, the monsters are it's pretty easy to land from what I've experienced. doing bounties pretty quickly. Haven't had many issues. The wolf and the scoundrel with the Borussia stun locks, so certain combination of CC and kiting, and mostly just practice landing that, but you can see the damage potential here. And again, I'm just running around, picking up the globes, cycling the resources, dropping the bombs, and avoiding the green stuff. And you'll see here in a second, I'm going to get a nice cycle with the wolf bonus. Right here, pick up the globe. And get another globe. And watch his health go down. 25% of his health right there.
I am too low on discipline.
And done. So there you go, this build isn't optimized for the Belial. I do have some speed kill Belials where I'm testing my effective damage, killing bosses and calculating the effective damage with different builds. But this is a really strong farming build. There, show it one more time. This is what the build looks like. Well, that's going to be it there. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys subscribe to the channel and check out the live stream, maybe follow the live stream. Either way, hope to see you guys around. And I will be doing more Demon Hunter builds and testing and comparing. This is just the first version of the build, so definitely subject to change and subject to improvements. And this isn't just because this is what I'm running and I'm doing really well, it doesn't mean that it's the only build that works. I have landed on a couple other ones that are doing pretty well, so we'll see some of those videos in the future. Thanks guys, see you on the live stream.